Good evening, everybody. It is June the 5th, and this is Dr. Michael Patmos. And tonight I'm going to talk about the economy and what happened today with the jobs report and the stock market. Now, most of you know me as an internal medicine doctor with added qualifications in infection control and hospital epidemiology. And I mostly post about healthcare issues. But many of you, some of you may realize or may not realize that I also have a significant background in management. I have a master's degree in medical management from the University of Southern California Marshall School of Business, which is one of the top 20 business schools in the United States and one of the top business schools in the world. And in my graduate training in business, I was primarily focused on economics, particularly healthcare economics. Now, I'm not an economist. I don't pretend to be one, but I do have a fair background, academic background, high level academic background, master's degree in management with a strong emphasis on economics from one of the top business schools in the world. So here's my 2 cents on what happened today, and I believe that I am qualified to speak about this. So, for those of you who saw the news today, and for many Trump supporters, people on the MAGA side of things, they were all gleeful today. Fed the jobs report up 172,000 jobs in the month of May, twice what economists projected. Isn't that fantastic? And all the Trump propaganda engines are out there generating content about how fantastic and wonderful that is. How such a great job market just reflects on how strong the economy is. No, economics is a little more complicated than that. And for you MAGA folks, let me explain to you why today's job report isn't necessarily good news. And that is reflected by the fact that not only was the jobs report up today, showing twice as many jobs, the stock market tanked massively. In fact, the stock market had its worst day in a year. All of this is below, by the way. The Dow dropped something like 700 points. The Nasdaq was down huge, and also the S&P was down. So why is that? Why does a strong jobs report cause the stock market to tank? Why is good news, or what you thought was good news, turn into something bad? Why did the economy, why did the stock market, why did investors panic when they saw this jobs report? Well, I'm going to connect the dots for you. So, what happens when you see a massive surge in job openings means that the labor force has disappeared. And so now there's all these jobs posted. There's Are there people to fill these jobs? Well, maybe not. And so what this does is it creates, there's such intense demand now to look for bodies to fill these jobs. It pushes labor, the demand for labor up, and salaries go up as a result. And that pushes inflation. And that means that the Fed is not going to reduce interest rates anytime soon. In fact, this report was so strong that it's highly likely that the Fed is now going to increase interest rates by a quarter of a basis point. Now, that is awful news for those of you who are in industries that are interest rate sensitive, or maybe you have real estate and you'd like to sell your house. Interest rates going up, the real estate market's going to collapse even more. This jobs report today was a bad thing because it indicates that there aren't workers out there to fill these jobs, and it's going to push wages up, which will push inflation, which will push interest rates up, which will continue to slow the real estate market, which means that your home values are going down, which means that eventually there's going to be more foreclosures, more bankruptcies, and that's how we get into what happened in 2008 6 and 7. If you remember, it was a collapse in real estate that caused the Great Recession. So this is not a great jobs report today because to me, it means it puts exactly the opposite pressure on the Fed to raise rates rather than low rates. So now here's the part that what does Trump have to do with this? How did Trump cause this problem? Because if you look at where these jobs are, these 172,000 jobs, they're all in industries that are dependent on migrant workers. These jobs were in landscaping, hospital, hospitality, that means hotel workers, maids, the leisure industry, basically low end workers, bars, hotels, healthcare, which of course relies for a lot on low wage immigrant workers who provide cleaning staff and so forth, medical assistants, which are generally lower paid workers, home health care workers, people who come to the home to take care of the elderly and disabled, and hospitals and clinics. That's where these 172,000 jobs are. These 172,000 jobs are all felt in areas that are dependent upon migrant workers. Well, guess what? Trump has gotten rid of those migrant workers. He threw them all out, despite the fact that we need them. And now they're gone, and all the jobs are here now, except one problem: there's nobody to fill them because all the immigrants are gone, the migrants are gone, and that's not a good thing. Now, why are all these migrant workers here? And why did Trump throw them out? Well, because they don't have documents, because they don't have visas. And why is that? It's because they can't apply for the visas. You don't understand. For migrant workers, there's the H-2A and the H-2B visa. They can't apply for those visas. They're barred. The worker can't apply for those visas. Only the employer can. The hassle and expense of applying for those visas is prohibitive, so they don't apply. So these people come in to work, and they come in undocumented because they can't be documented, because they can't apply for visas because they're not allowed to by law. So we have a situation where we have millions of workers in the United States that we need. We can't make them legal because they're not allowed to apply for visas. So they come in illegally, but we still need them. And now Trump has basically thrown millions of them out, and that's why the job market surged today, and it's putting a lot of negative pressure on the stock market and on interest rates. So today's job report is not a good thing. It's a bad thing, and it's a direct result of Trump not understanding basic economics and labor economics. And his economic team is primarily made of stockbrokers. You'd think they'd have enough knowledge, but they all just have bachelor's degrees. These people don't have very high level economics credentials. They don't really understand this very well, obviously. Trump doesn't understand it very well, obviously. And so by throwing all these migrant workers out, we now have all these vacant jobs pushing the number of job openings, nobody to fill them. It's going to push salaries up, going to drive inflation, which pushes interest rates higher to try to quell inflation. This is bad news economically, and that's why the stock market tanked today. So there's your lesson, economics. Well, that's not really economics 101. It's actually more graduate level economics, but there's your lesson for today on economics. And it just goes to show you Trump has no clue what he's doing. You can't, we rely on millions of migrant workers. We just won't allow them to get documented. We force them into being undocumented. And Trump comes along and throws them out. These are workers that we depend on. So good luck. Good luck finding your maids, your medical assistants, the people that clean your toilets in hotels and hospitals, because you're not going to find them because they're gone. Because we locked them up, we threw them out, and now there's nobody to do that work. So we have to get rid of this guy. He does not understand biology, he doesn't understand science, and he doesn't understand world affairs, he doesn't understand military strategy, he doesn't understand economics. It's really pathetic. I mean, his level of understanding is not even at a sixth grade level. Anyhow, have a great evening.